What is up, everybody? It's your boy Matt Turner back again with another video, and today is a video that I know that I've been saying that I'm going to do for quite some time, but I've yet to do it. I'm going to tell you guys how I raised $8,000 to pay for my top surgery out of pocket. Now, for many of you who have been following me, you know kind of my story. I have insurance, which is why I'm always telling you guys in the beginning of my videos early on in my channel life to always use insurance. Check your insurance, make sure you know what the requirements are, because I had a case where I had insurance, didn't meet the requirements, had a top surgery date, didn't want to move it, and thusly had to figure out how to pay for my surgery out of pocket. So this is how I did it. Basically, I'm going to tell you how I did it in this video. Now, some things that you should take into account in this video. Firstly, this is just my case. This may not work for everybody. This is just how it worked for me, and how I could have been lucky. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you exactly what I did, things that you should take into account. Secondly, you should know this was the first and only ever GoFundMe that I have ever created. So there's going to be better information out there than just mine, but again, this is just how I did mine. And of course, I have my notes because I will get sidetracked. But anyways, let's hop right into it. I'm not going to leave you guys waiting. If you do like this video, make sure to go ahead and comment, like, subscribe, all that fun jazz. Follow me on Instagram, and let's get into it. So before we begin, one thing that I notice with a lot of trans men and a lot of trans people in general, when it comes to raising money when you don't have the financial means to pay for your own surgery, is they feel really bad about reaching out to other people for money. And right now, I want you to stop. That is bullshit. Like, I understand why you feel that way, but you also have to realize in our current time and situation in the 21st century, the year 2021, the government has systematically, and for certain people and for certain groups, made it impossible for us to have health care and to financially be able to afford health care. And so your only means to get the healthcare that you need and to get the help that you need is to reach out to your community, aka your support group. So don't feel bad. Everybody has always been in a situation where they need to get money, and by not, I myself at first, before I made my GoFundMe, I didn't want to do it. I personally don't like handouts. I'm the type of person that as soon as you loan me money, I'm going to pay you back the second that I get it, because I don't like being in debt to people. I absolutely hate it. I absolutely hate not being able to afford things myself. That's exactly why for my testosterone, my parents don't pay for anything. Like, all of my transition, I have paid for myself, or I have had people who have supported me, who have donated funds to me, because I don't like feeling in debt to people. I know that sounds contradictory, but that's because this was the one moment where I actually found people to donate. But anyways, you get the gist. I can understand, but do it anyways, because all you're doing is stalling your progress. You're putting yourself through needless suffering by having to try and figure out how to raise these funds yourself. And don't get me wrong, that's absolutely a-okay. Everybody's got to figure out how to do things for themselves. Some people, you just got to do what you got to do, and you got to work within your means. If reaching out to other people is not something you can mentally and physically bring yourself to do, then you just have to do this yourself. And I will actually put in tips for that as well, because right now, even though I don't you know, like pay for a whole lot. I still have to pay for certain things, and I have a few little side gigs that have been helpful. I'll go into depth on those towards the end of the video. So the very first tip for you guys is going to be that timing when it comes to and this is specifically for GoFundMe, just so you guys know, but this principle can be used with everything. Timing is going to be everything. So when I did my GoFundMe, it was still at the peak of the Black Lives Matter movement, just after George Floyd had died and Breonna Taylor had been killed. It was just at the peak of that. Like, I'm talking, there were riots still happening. Like, this was just before, like, all the countries started protesting and rioting. So I was in a good position. I knew, well, I didn't know, but like, looking back on it, that was the perfect time to have done my GoFundMe. So I'm not saying wait for a perfect time. Don't just like lie in wait like, you know, Aaron Burr. Like, don't just do that. Don't like, you know, wait until Pride or something to make your GoFundMe. Make your GoFundMe, but understand there are going to be peak times when people will see your GoFundMe and when people will feel motivated to donate to your GoFundMe. Tip number 2, technically speaking, do everything that GoFundMe tells you to do in order to optimize your story and page and everything like that. I had never used GoFundMe before, so I just went based on what they did, which was make sure you're telling the people who are going to be donating to you why the cost is what it is. Give them a breakdown. Let them really know like what's going on. So in my case, I'll link my GoFundMe down below so you can see an example. It's still up. I haven't ended it. But I'm not getting any money from it, so there's that. But yeah, make sure you're telling them. In my GoFundMe, I tell them, hey, this is the cost of my surgery. Here's my out-of-pocket expenses. Insurance not paying for it, so I have to do it myself. And like, this is the cost of travel. This is the cost of the actual surgery. This is the doctor I'm going with. In terms of, compared to other people's, my GoFundMe is actually kind of on the more vague side. Like, I tell you what you need to know, but there are some people who will go super in depth on like what their funds are for, and that's what you need to do. And I'm not saying, there's a spectrum, obviously. Feel free to post as much information as you want, but also remember, this is the internet and you are putting yourself out there and giving your personal information away, so just be mindful of that. The next thing that I did, and if you follow any of my social media, you know I'm not a big person, but I posted my GoFundMe on all of my social media. So on Twitter, I think I have like 60 followers. Obviously, that's not doing anything. I had a little bit more luck on Instagram, where I have a little bit more of a following. It's not even that big. I have like, now I just got to like 300 and like, I think 30 people. But all the people who I follow and who follow me are legitimately my friends. Like, they are my true friends. It's not until like the last like maybe 2 months that I've been getting people that I don't necessarily know following me. And that's useful, because at least then you know those are your friends and they're going to advertise your stuff for you because they like you. And if they don't, you should probably question that person. But yes, this is where things get really critical. If you don't have a big following, in my case, you need to go and find someone who does have a big following. So for me, I didn't do anything. I just gave it to my girlfriend, and I didn't ask her to. She just did it because she loves me. But she reached out to some big Twitter person who had a larger following. I have no idea who. I have absolutely no understanding of who that person is, or where they came from, or which account. So I can't even tell you guys that information. But that, she asked them, she DM'd them, and once she told me that she did that, I started doing it too. She direct messaged that person and asked them if they would tweet my GoFundMe out and it got like 5K, and then I asked my brother, who at the time was doing a lot with the Black Lives Matter movement. So that was super helpful because then he knew a lot of people who would be willing to donate and all of that fun jazz. So overall, I didn't even use that many people that, like, let me not say use, but reached out to that many people. I had my brother and I had my girlfriend. And from that, I managed to reach to thousands of people who were willing to donate to my cause. And by my cause, I mean my top surgery. But if you don't have a big following, that doesn't matter. You can find other people who have a big following who will be willing to retweet, post what may have your GoFundMe so that it can get to a broader audience. Bouncing off of that though, now that I do a lot of, like search engine optimization because of YouTube and tags and whatnot, when you are posting things on Twitter, make sure you are using optimal hashtags. Like, that's going to actually be important. When I was doing it, I was using a lot of the hashtag Black Trans crowdfund, hashtag transmen, hashtag Black transmen, like anything that relates to you that is going to get a lot of like impressions, which is basically like people viewing it. Use those hashtags. That's what's going to make sure that other people are retweeting and that your GoFundMe is getting seen. Now, the fourth tip that is this is where things are gonna get a little bit more difficult per se. So what I did after all of that is, if you have supportive parents, ask your parents to advertise your GoFundMe. And I know this could be very tricky for some people because some people don't even talk to their parents. Some people were disowned by their parents. If you don't have a parent that is supportive, find another parent. Find your friend's parent. Find someone older than you. It doesn't matter. It just needs to be an older person who is supportive of your cause. Ask them to advertise on their page your GoFundMe, because it's just a simple matter of fact. The older you are in the current day and age, the more likely you have access to money. Therefore, the more likely you can donate a larger sum. So in my case, actually, that did happen, but I didn't get as much funds as I was thinking. Whether that's because older people are a little bit tricky. Like, you gotta find like the right group. But that's the general idea, is that the older people are going to be able to donate more. But at the same time, older people are like, I want to hand you the money, like, in person. So that might be difficult. But definitely reach out to them as well. Like, you need to use all of your resources when it comes to this. So, like, don't leave any stone unturned. Tip number 5, I think. So what I did after that was, after my GoFundMe was created, I had advertised it to all of these people. By this point, I think I had gotten roughly around $4,000, $5,000 donated. After that, things started slowing down. It was maybe around the 3rd or 4th day. That's when you need to make sure that people are still seeing your GoFundMe. So what you need to do is you need to update your GoFundMe, and GoFundMe will actually allow you to update and then notify all the people who have donated that you've posted something on your like story, your like blog page or whatever, your biography. And that's what's going to help remind people, like, hey, this is something that's still happening. This is a person who still needs my help. They're so close. And that's the other thing. You need to emphasize how close you are. At least that's what I did. And I think that's what worked for me, is emphasizing how close I was to getting to my goal. So my goal was to have 10,000. Another thing that you should take into account, I didn't take it into account, but that's fine, is that GoFundMe is going to take a percentage of whatever is donated. I think they take 10%, it's like 1 to 10. It's like once you get to 10,000, or like you actually get like quite a bit donated, we're talking like maybe they're taking like $100 or like $250 out. I can't be exact. I don't quite remember. I stopped my donation drive like 4 months ago, so I haven't been to GoFundMe in a while. But there is that. So definitely like take that into account. I just did 10,000. I personally wouldn't recommend making it seem like adding in the like 10%, because to me I could just work for it. So that is how I, in a nutshell, raised $8,000 for my top surgery within basically a week's time. Granted, I was very, very lucky. I had a very amazing support group. All my friends were very, very supportive. They donated. All my internet friends and distant friends that I used to live in Minnesota with, they were all very willing to donate, and I appreciate them so much, because honestly I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for their support, and living my life to the fullest if it wasn't for their support. So don't get me wrong, this is not about just like using people. Like this is about reaching out to people, the right people who will donate because they genuinely want to see you succeed. So like, don't think I'm just being like, this is how you use people. That's not what I'm saying. But yes, once again, thank you to all of the people who donated. I really would love to like scroll all of your names down the side of this page. However, A, that would take a really, really long time, and B, I had a lot of private benefactors, so I'm just not even going to even start with that, because that would be such a maze to figure out. But again, I said I would tell you guys what you can do if you don't want to do GoFundMe, and that is what I am doing currently and what I'm about to do in like another 2 hours, which is I do gig work. So like Uber Eats. Right now I do Uber Eats, and if I'm being diligent and I'm doing the peak times and I'm doing the promotions and such, you can get roughly, depending on your location, you can get roughly about $400 a week for just about 15 hours. Maybe not even 15 hours, way less than that, because I usually drive for about 2 to 3 hours in a week, and I only do it for about like 3 days, if even that. Some days I'm really short and I don't start at the peak time, and I still make about 70 bucks a day. So I'm on the low end just because I'm not super diligent. It's not like I'm doing it every single day. I do it like maybe every other day and when I feel good. And I can still get around roughly like $200. So right now, $200, that's enough to afford my testosterone and my shots and my syringe kit and everything like that monthly. So if all you need to do is start testosterone and do that, that's definitely an option. Obviously, you need to factor in blood work, which can cost quite a bit, especially if you're not using insurance. But definitely look into Uber Eats, DoorDash. This is not sponsored, but they are definitely good companies. There are definitely ways to make a ton of money with companies like DoorDash and Uber Eats. I know people will actually sign up for both, and then you just pick the best delivery of the both, which is what I should be doing, but I don't. I'm a very simple-minded man, but that's definitely something that you can do. yeah, guys, that's really all I did. That's all the tips that I have. I hope this was helpful. I hope that you know, maybe learned something that you didn't know before. If you did enjoy this, please make sure to like this. Comment down below some tips that you have done yourself in terms of trying to raise money for out-of-pocket expenses when it comes to transitioning. Again, reminder that I will be doing a free giveaway for two Real Magic basic packers. If you haven't seen that other video yet, where I detail the criteria for that, I will post that up there if it hasn't been posted quite yet. Basically, what you need to be doing is you need to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you need to go follow me on Instagram. It's not a requirement to follow me on Twitter. I don't use it a lot. If I got more people to follow me on Twitter, maybe I would use it more. But if you want to feel like you want to follow me on Twitter, do that too, but that's not necessary. And yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button so you can know when I update. Oh, wait. So I was going to advertise a trans man's Gofundme. Actually, let me just go find somebody on Twitter. I'm just gonna go find somebody on Twitter real quick. So yes, the trans man that I have picked is going to be Aiden Jackson. I did say I was gonna start advertising trans men's GoFundMes. So what perfect video to start this on than this one. I will be posting his GoFundMe link in the description box. If you have any cash available or you are feeling generous and helping this man get the same feeling of joy and freedom as I did, as well as thousands of other trans men after having top surgery, please go donate to his GoFundMe. There are too many of us who are suffering, not enjoying life, when the government should be totally funding this shit, and they are making it impossible for people to have healthcare. So the community at large, help each other. That's what I'm trying to do. Just, it only takes a little bit. Every cent counts. That's what I said, and I literally mean it. Every cent's count, because that's 1 cent that you don't have to cover yourself. So yes, go donate to Aiden. And again, it is your boy, Matt Turner, out. I hope you guys had an amazing day. Wow, let me start that over. It is your boy, Matt Turner. I hope you have an amazing evening, day, or night, wherever you are, and I will see you guys next time.